take projection.
Welcome back, everybody, to Taking on Sports. I am TD. That is Greg. Greg, how you been, man?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm pretty good. All things considered, uh, hectic week off for us. But yeah, celebrated the Mardi Gras in both Mobile and New Orleans, all over the place.
Nice.
Back in town. How about you? How was your week off last week?
Well, turn 40.
Oh,
Still alive, so still
that's right. The
a
big
little
four
older,
zero.
but yeah.
That's right.
But pretty good.
Man, it's coming up for me in a couple months. It's it's weird though. I like 40 as a number doesn't bother me. It's the thing that gets me is like thinking back and remembering, stories, good times, something like that, and then
Mhm.
thinking how long ago they actually were. Like I mean, shit,
Yeah,
like college
yeah,
is 20 years ago now.
yeah. That it is crazy to think about. You'd be like, man, that was only like, wait a minute,
Yeah,
damn,
yeah. It's like, man,
a
that was
long
just
time
like
ago.
5, 7 years ago. It's like, nope, that's 20.
Yeah, still seems pretty fresh, but yeah, you're right. Like it's crazy sometimes. Just say, wow,
Mhm.
just.
Yeah. That's what trips me up. I'm like, oh dang, okay, time passes.
It
Uh,
does.
but yeah, so in our week off, of course, Super Bowl happened.
That it did.
Bama hoops kept rolling on, one loss in there. NBA's All Star Week and trade deadline passed. Uh, I guess that might have passed the week before. Anyway, uh, but yeah, let's. I guess let's start the Super Bowl real quick. Um, it might have been the best job of predicting that we have ever done on this podcast.
Yeah.
You nailed the game right. I did get the Niners, but lost that. But other than that, I mean, you called it. Slow start, low scoring game. Defense is showing up, picking up
Mhm.
late. Um, I mean, of course, Pat Mahomes did Pat Mahomes things. That's a he won it.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Even I think I picked uh, McCaffrey to win MVP, and what did I say? He had like 90 on the ground, like 70 in the air, and he had 80 and 80 exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
If they had one, maybe.
yeah, I mean, I don't know where else you go. Maybe Purdy, but I think if the Niners have pulled it out, it's probably with that or Jawan Jenkins, maybe
Jawan
throwing a
Jennings
Jennings.
threw
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
touchdown, caught one. Yeah.
Um, what do you think? Good game. Kind of a slow, boring game. What do you think of it?
Oh well, I mean, I thought it was pretty entertaining. Well, it's weird that it went exactly how I said it. Usually that doesn't work out at all. I was like, wow, it's really going that way. But the and even funny was my bet that I was saying was gonna hit. It really hit, even with the overtime money line in the under for the Chiefs in the under. So that was pretty cool. But the game itself, I mean, I'd say that's fourth quarter and overtime are pretty fun. The
Mhm.
rest of the game pretty slow. Great defense. I mean, if you're a defensive fan, I mean, for 3.5 quarters, I mean, you were in heaven. I mean, both defenses showed up, shut
Mhm.
down a lot of everything. I mean, nothing really got going there. I mean, heck, one touchdown was a trick play there. I mean, a lot of field goals, a lot of punts. For a while, it looked like the punters might be the MVP of the Super Bowl. I mean, they were really doing it.
And booming it, yeah. A big special teams play on that blocked extra point.
Yeah,
Which I saw some people kind of clowning on Moody, the kicker, but it wasn't his fault, man. That left side of that line got destroyed.
they did.
Um, but yeah, I agree. It was fun. It wasn't. I don't think it was a case of bad offenses. I think the defense just stepped up on the big stage.
And honestly, that, but I going kind of off the Super Bowl. Afterwards, Steve Wilkes getting relieved of his duties in San Francisco. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, I
Um,
understand you guys didn't win and gave up the touchdown late, but if San Francisco offense could have scored touchdowns instead of field goals, in key situations where they were down there, um, hey, maybe we don't have that problem. Or fumbling the punt return, and there's a lot of
mm-hmm,
mistakes. The defense played out of control. I mean, you gotta think. I mean, they shut down. I mean, Travis Kelsey was pretty non-existent until overtime. Mahomes looked pretty pedestrian. He looked like a normal guy. I mean, the defense definitely. I mean, they're not as good as maybe under D'Amico, but I mean, they were still giving up less than 20 points a game. I mean, and they did enough that they probably should have won the game on last
mm-hmm.
Sunday.
And yeah, who knows if Greenlaw doesn't have that freak injury running on the field? That's a huge loss in the middle of that defense.
Yeah, that was crazy. But
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
just a thing of what ifs, and now we
Yep.
go from that and talking about a new dynasty in the NFL. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. We just got not. We just very rarely do you get such a quick dynasty after most recently, of course, the Patriots, and
Mm-hmm.
then what Tom Brady did even after he left, and then boom, we're right back at it. Everybody's
Yeah.
already on the thing is Patrick Mahomes the best quarterback of all time, so it's pretty crazy. you know,
Insane. Yeah. But I mean, 3 and 5 years will do that. Another appearance in the
yeah,
game. And
and
he's still young and just really now in the prime of his career. So, I mean, how
and
many can they win realistically, do you think? Uh,
I mean it's crazy because you know you look at it and you can say, well, this will end at some point. But who's going to stop it? If they
mm-hmm.
keep the main pieces together, I feel like if Mahomes and Andy Reid are in place, who knows? I mean, it's crazy right now, just where they're at. I mean, if there was a time that they were supposed to lose, it was going to be this year. I mean, they had to go
Mm-hmm.
win twice on the road. They don't have a reliable number one receiver. I mean, they have Kelsey, but I mean, they don't have a true number one receiver that you can
Mm-hmm.
put the game on. They have guys step up at different spots, but didn't have the greatest regular season, but found ways to win when it mattered. Defense, and probably that's the um, probably the most underlooked at part is just how good the defense was this past season for the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
You look at all the games. I mean, they didn't give up. I don't think they gave up 30 all year.
They might not have. Yeah, no, they really the way they were able to shift gears and pivot
Yeah.
uh, from all world offense, we're just going to outscore you, run up and down the field, throwing the ball, to we're going to put together long drives and then just smother your offense is an impressive job by them.
Steve
The way,
Spagnuolo,
hmm
definitely a hell of a coordinator.
yeah, that absolutely deserves all the praise that he's been getting. And yeah, and you look at like the Patriots dynasty you mentioned, they even had that kind of break in the middle. They won those three in the 2000s, and then they went what, like 9, 8, 7, something like years without winning one or even being in the game, really, maybe, and then they added three more. Uh, so no telling what they can do, and they got some young pieces. Rasheed Rice, maybe a future number one guy, but if not, you can. He's a solid guy in that receiving core. If you can go out and get a number one, Pacheco is seems like a talented back. They can use him in a Marshall Falk role almost. Uh, yeah, that's. Uh, uh, yeah, it's just you mentioned who can beat them. Because they've been taking the best shots from Joe Burrow and the Bengals to Josh Allen the Bills, Lamar and the Ravens. You think maybe of course odds are one of these years one of those teams will get him.
Yeah,
and
Super
getting
Bowl
the
will
Super Bowl
catch them.
themselves. But
Yes, I
yeah,
mean, but I just don't. It's just great. It's just an amazing run. That
mhm.
I mean, not only do they make the playoffs every year, but they've never been a season where Pat Mahomes has not at least been in the AFC title game. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. It's very much Alabama under Nick Saban. It's
Oh yeah,
you automatically count them in the national title conversation or the Super Bowl conversation before every season. It doesn't matter how
exactly.
shady they look at beginning or middle of the season because they'll be there. They'll figure it out and they'll be there.
Yeah, and you got to look at it too. I mean, the two losses. I mean, they lost to the Patriots with Tom
Mm-hmm.
Brady. D4 doesn't go offsides. They win that
Mm-hmm.
game.
Yep.
I mean, you look at the Super Bowl against the Bucks. It got ugly because that offensive line was pretty much out. I mean, they had a whole bunch
Mm-hmm.
of backups. They have they have all their guys at that point. Who knows how that game goes? But
Yeah. They patchwork offensive line against that just absolutely vicious Bucks front
this
seven they had
Bucks
that year
are
too.
crazy.
Um,
So who knows? But I mean, it's just been an amazing run, and yeah, right now it's kind of like it's kind of like the Nuggets and the NBA. Though this, of course, been a little better, but I mean, you gotta look at
mhm,
it when it comes down to it. Do you really? Is there a team that you really honestly believe can beat them? I mean,
mhm,
yes, it could happen, but until you see it, I don't. Do you really think it's gonna happen?
yeah.
I'm at that point with the Chiefs.
Yeah. You gotta like we said, even if one year somebody gets them, say the Bengals or Ravens or Bills figure it out,
Mhm.
then KC will be back wanting revenge the very next year. Like I said, at
Yeah,
this point, that you put them and write them in pen for your Super Bowl favorites every year.
yeah. Until proven
And
otherwise. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which is probably when Mahomes retires, and maybe Reed retires first. That's interesting. That's always something to watch. But
Right. I mean, he is an
well,
older guy.
he is, and yeah, especially if he keeps getting attacked by Travis Kelsey. You never.
That's wild in itself too.
Uh,
Like,
yeah,
but
that was
yeah, because I mean, Andy Reid's been so good in Kansas City. I mean, we almost forget he has a long tenure in Philadelphia. I mean, he's not a young
Mm-hmm.
coach. I mean, he's been on football for what 40 some years.
Mm-hmm.
He's an older guy. He had quite a few run quite a few successful years in Philly. I mean, where he made it what 3 or 4 straight NFC title games, but came up short.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Patriots with To with the broken leg. I mean, so at some point you'd have to think he wants to get want to relax, retire, but
Mm-hmm.
who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Um. But yeah. That's pretty much about it for the Super Bowl. And that's once again, I always like to say this any chance I get. Regarding the whole overtime thing and how the Niners didn't know the overtime rules, I actually had forgotten myself too that they made the changes for the playoffs after that Chiefs Bills game.
Yeah,
Um, but again,
yeah,
once again, I beg of the NFL and college football, just put like 8-10 minutes on the clock in overtime and just play another quarter, and that's it. When that time hits zero, whatever the score is the score in the regular season. If it's tied, whatever, who cares?
yeah.
It's okay to have
And that
ties.
seems
And
like
in the playoffs, then you can go to sudden play the extra 10 minutes. If someone's winning, awesome, they win the game. If it's still tied, then go to sudden death or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, but the craziest part, and I almost forgot about it during the Super Bowl. At
Mhm.
the end there, when but right before that play, I'm like, dude, that clock is running down. But of course, it would have went to the second
Mhm.
overtime
Accord. Yeah,
because
yeah.
it was still on their first possession. But I was like, holy shit, what are they doing? And I was like, oh yeah, I like.
They knew exactly what they were doing. Uh,
Yeah, exactly what they're doing. But yeah, I mean, but at that point in NFL, if you're gonna do it in the playoffs where you both get a possession, why have a
mhm.
clock? There's no point
Yeah.
because you get a possession, you do what you do. If you score a touchdown, I get the ball, score a touchdown, or you kick a field goal. I go down, kick a field goal, score a touchdown. We keep on playing someone scores the next time.
Yeah,
But yeah, if you're gonna do it that way. But yeah, I like the whole play an extra quarter, 10 minutes or so in the playoffs, and
yeah,
after that, who's ever up is up. I think that's probably the better way because I don't know,
yeah. It
like if
just
I
takes out. It's just easier for everyone to figure out. There's no like,
yeah.
wait, if they score a touchdown, it's over. No, they get the answer. Blah blah, all that kind of
Because
crap. Just.
I think the thing is they mess it up from the get go. Like they shouldn't have ever
Hmm.
had it where a field goal doesn't when you. It's either
Yeah.
it should have either been all or nothing. Either the first
Hmm.
score wins or the first score doesn't. You can't have it one way where a field goal doesn't beat you, but a touchdown does, because
Yeah.
that's kind of
It just.
confusing in itself. Like who came up with that? Like
Yeah. It's. Yeah, it's just a ridiculous thing. They need to figure that out. And like the same, like I said, same goes for college. Like especially now with the dumb 2 point conversion contest, it
yeah, I
turns
think that
into
is
uh,
really yeah. I don't know. I like some people have always said they didn't like it. I like I've liked the college overtime where you get a 25 or whatever,
mhm.
and I never had a problem with it. I was always
No,
entertaining.
yeah, I
But yeah,
always liked it. And it was fine for me when they were like, okay, well, after the third, you have to start going for two after you score a touchdown, and that's fine by me. I get that, try to speed up, but it's also is one of those things where it's like they were trying to solve a problem that didn't exist because they would have 1, 8, 9 overtime game every 7 seasons, and then they would
yeah,
panic like, oh, blah 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 blah. The players are injuries. It's like you don't give a shit about the players.
no,
Don't pretend.
yeah,
Um,
don't put it down.
yeah, the only issue I ever had with that overtime is it does take the like special teams out of it largely, like punt returners
Yeah,
and kick returners mainly, and especially in
right.
college when you have so many electric guys like there. Um, so like I said, I just put time on the clock, have another quarter. That I mean, literally every other sport does it basically, right?
Yeah,
Um,
pretty much.
yeah, basketball does it that way. Hockey does it
Uh,
with their weird shootout afterwards and all that. But even baseball really does it. They add an extra inning if it's still tied, another inning.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's probably the last football we talk until I guess the draft. Um,
Yeah, come up in like end of
but yeah, it was
April.
a fun season. Another kind of frustrating endings for our teams in Dallas and Baltimore, but what can we do? It's the off season now. You see who they're going to re-sign in free agency, see what happens in the draft, and go from there.
Yeah, that's all you can do, right? New
Yeah.
season for everybody. Everybody gets their hopes up and back to this is our year talk.
Hmm. Yep. Get that one move that says, "All right, that's it. This is the change. It's going to
The one
take us over the top."
it, you know, we'll
But
see how it goes. But
yeah.
I do
Well.
love the draft.
Oh yeah.
So
No. Yeah.
that's one, probably, honestly, outside of the playoffs, that's probably my favorite part of the NFL season. I
Hmm.
love the draft. I'm a draft nerd. I look at everybody's mock drafts and just study up like I'm doing, like I'm presenting it myself. But but I love it.
No. Yeah. It's a fun time. I think I said I've said with basketball embracing the off season more, like all of the American sports should take a cue from European soccer and just embrace the off season because it's almost as fun as watching the games. Just reading all these reports, like, oh, this player's going here, no, he's going here. All this, like, um,
So half the thing is all the
mm,
off season talk.
yeah, it's that eternal hope you get too. Like,
Oh yeah,
but let's switch gears here to the hardwood. Our boys in Crimson, since we've last talked, played 3 games. They did lose down on the plains at Auburn. Tough place to play. Kentucky was the first team to knock off the
yeah.
Tigers there last night.
It was weird because Kentucky been struggling going into that game. They had lost quite.
Yeah,
And to go down
it
there
was.
and win, I thought that's weird. But
Yeah, it
that's
was definitely
the
against.
SEC for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's and when you have as much talent as Kentucky always has, you know that's how it
Yeah,
goes. You know they can show up. As far as the Bama game down there, it was just one of those games. Just Auburn was hitting their shots, making the plays. Alabama wasn't. Not much you can really say about it.
they,
Um, uh,
memory served me. They closed out on that 19-4 run to end the half,
hmm
and that was the knockout punch. But yeah,
Yeah.
when Auburn's going at home, yeah,
hmm
not too many teams are coming out of
No.
that spot when they're rocking. That place
Yeah.
gets electric. Um, yeah,
I will say the one thing there that was that ref crew both ways. I think there were like 90, 80, 90 free throws shot in that game
yeah,
combined. Auburn had 50 of them shot and
yeah.
made 40 of them. Um,
Hmm.
uh, yeah, we got to do better. Basketball refs. That's the two teams that like to play at the pace they do. You can't.
You can't slow
That,
that much.
that's
Just take
yeah. That's ridiculous. 50 free throws is ridiculous for a college game.
it really
Um,
is,
mhm.
especially if you're trying to build your brand up. That's not the way to do it. You're trying to
No,
get
yeah,
in today's world. That's not the way to do it at all. Um,
no. But they bounced back. The boys in crimson did. Hung 100 for the second time this year on LSU down in Tuscaloosa, and
hmm
then had a midweek bye, and then yesterday hung another 100-point game. This time against Texas A&M. In kind of a similar fashion we've seen all year, where they get a lead and they make a run at some point in the first half, get a lead, but the other team kind of hangs around. Um, and A&M's the kind of team that does that. They rebound offensively so well.
do.
They get so many second and third chances. And then just a big run in the second half, and the threes were falling. The D is improving every game. The D is improving for Alabama. And they're now what 100-point game shy of tying the SEC all-time record at 95-96 Kentucky team, which that's
Yeah,
some good company to be in.
good company. And, I was kind of, when I saw that stat yesterday, I was kind of shocked. As many good teams as been over the years that
hmm
no one's done. I'm just kind of amazing. But yeah, great company to be in. We know how great that national title team was. Not sure we're quite on that level, but
hmm
they're a great company to be in. Just the last two games there. I mean, just
hmm
when the offense is going, and we say that all the time, but it's true. When our offense is going and we're able to play fast and get transition buckets, whether it be layups, threes,
hmm
we're a tough team to beat. When people are on, when Sears is on, when Reitzel's on, um,
hmm
we're something serious.
Rylan
Um,
Griffin, Nelson, yeah, when all those guys contribute,
Estrada's playing. Estrada's kind of
yeah,
maybe not as good as offensively as what I thought he'd be, but I mean he brings so
hmm
much other things. Rebounds well, dishes out the ball well.
hmm
You know, what Mark Sears is doing. He made the midseason Naismith watch, but of course he should be on every list.
hmm
Making a good argument for SEC Player of the Year for sure. He's had 8 straight 20-plus point games. And the thing is, though, we've said it here, but everybody's playing a part. Other guys are still scoring points. No one's waiting around for somebody to take over. Everybody,
hmm
you know,
hmm
seems to have their part figured out. They're getting points. Like no one just like, oh man. Last year it seemed like we had a good team, but it seemed like everybody's looking at Brandon. Everybody's looking at Brandon Miller. And it doesn't seem
yeah,
that way this year. Everything seems a lot more fluid. Everybody seems to be comfortable in what they do, and we can always count. Last two games we've had 5 people in double digits. I mean, you can't beat that.
no, yeah. Um, and I think I believe it was Jimmy Dykes on the broadcast yesterday. He was saying, about the defensive improvements that they don't have to be great with that offense. They just got to be good, and
Yeah,
um, you can really This team, they can go places. They stay hot. They get hot at the right time, and the matchups work for them in March. And yesterday they honored the 2004 Elite Eight team. Um, it's definitely a possibility for this team this year to get to the Elite Eight. Um,
The right matchups, it definitely is a possibility.
yeah.
But as we know, the NCAA tournament's all about your matchups and what
Hmm.
against. Some of it too is also whether who's ref in the games as well. It
Yeah.
changes that.
Huh.
Um, you know,
Yeah.
but still, we know what our strengths are. We know what our weaknesses are. Of course, when our biggest problem is that people ever slow us down and force us into a half court offense, that's when we kind of have our problems there. But you know,
Hmm.
so we'll see how it plays out. But I like where we're at there. We would have 3 more games in February. Tough end of the month there.
Hmm.
Florida comes to town on Wednesday. The Gators, I mean, they're not their best team, but they're always a tough team.
Yeah.
And then going on the road to end the month in Lexington, and then going to Ole Miss. So not the easiest way to end the month, but uh, you know, all 3 games definitely winnable. No
Hmm.
reason we couldn't win all 3 of those. Right now it looks like we're sitting on the 3 line of according to a lot of projections. So, you know, we could, easily move up based upon how the schedule could play out there if we get majority of the wins to end the month and then going into March. I like where
Yeah.
we're at.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, 2 big games this week. The Gators come to Tuscaloosa Wednesday, and then next Saturday going to Rupp. Um, and then below us in the standings, got some help this weekend too. We mentioned
Mhm.
Kentucky going into Auburn, beating them, but we also had LSU upsetting
Be
South Carolina.
wow. I
Yeah,
did not see that coming.
no, definitely not. So now Alabama's got a 1 game lead, a full game over Tennessee, who we'll see in a few weeks.
See you in March.
Um,
Speaking in March, yeah.
yeah, that game kind of looking like maybe
The
it could be
SEC,
for
yeah.
the SC regular season crown. Yeah. Um, but we've got to focus on the wins or the games in
Yeah.
between
Got
them.
it.
Tennessee this week, and before that game, they go at Missouri this week. Missouri's winless in conference play. Then they host Texas A&M, looking for a little revenge. They lost down in College Station a couple weeks ago,
Hmm.
and then they host Auburn, so that'd be a big one. Um,
Yeah. But all the games I would expect. I think Tennessee wins all 3 of those personally, but who
yeah,
knows?
I believe they should. Yeah, and then they have a tough end of their season too. Their last 3 games are in Tuscaloosa, in Columbia, South Carolina, and then Kentucky comes calling in Knoxville. So
Hmm.
no easy games at this point in the year.
No, not at all. Not
Mm-mm.
at all.
Uh, what'd you think about the uniforms the Tide busted out? The kind of throwbacks.
I like them. They're
Hmm.
kind of similar to what we, in a way, to what they had when we were in college.
Hmm.
Um, I like them. I thought they were cool. I was like, man, we better win. Bringing new uniforms. You can't lose in new
Oh no,
uniforms
yeah,
business.
yeah. I'm all in favor of bringing back anything old school looking, anything retro, anything with the old school logo on it. The
I
elephant
like.
coming through the block A.
That was
You've
well
seen a
done.
bunch of people online talking about put that on mid court, put that in mid the 50-yard line in the football games, and I'm agreed. Get rid of the all the '90s logos, the Mike Dubose era logos. Uh, get rid of those. Go back to the block A. I love that logo.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but yeah, there's one thing too. So I wanted to say before we move on, knowing what our kind of weaknesses can be, we mentioned A&M, just the beast on the offensive glass, and they do it to everyone. It wasn't like an anomaly. But a lot of people I've seen online talk, and it's a good point. We even, believe, kind of discussed it when it happened. But Chuck Bediako
Man,
leaving, going to the
uh,
draft, how big would he be if he was still on this team?
he'd be man. Just think. I mean, if he just gave us a double double every night, possible. Give us a 10 points, clean
Mm,
up some stuff, rim, play rim protector. Um, and yeah, that's a big thing. Would be on that other end, just stopping second chance points. And think what that would have done to his draft stock.
hmm
Man, yeah,
um,
be huge. I
yeah,
bet he. I mean, we might, honestly, we might be a top five team with Baco. To be honest, I don't think we lose all those games in December. You know, um,
yeah. I
yeah,
think he lets us steal one of those games against Arizona, Creighton, or Purdue.
yeah,
Maybe he definitely probably has us beat. I mean, of all those early season losses, I think the worst looking by now is, I guess, the Ohio State one. Um,
yeah, because that
maybe,
doesn't look good right now.
yeah. Although looked a little better. Was that yesterday? Today, Ohio State upset number two Purdue.
Which is crazy, but weird things
Yeah.
have to happen. Fired, like it's like
hmm
the coach is like, well, where's that been at, guys?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fired coach, and then just sitting at home like, what the fuck.
yeah,
Um. Well, yeah, and elsewhere around the country, a huge game. UConn and Marquette played, and UConn beat the shit out of them. Um, we mentioned Auburn. We should mention tough loss for them. Jalen Williams, knee injury against Kentucky. They do expect him to come back this season, though. So
that's good
uh,
because
good for them. Good for him. A senior, you hate for his season to end like that and an injury. But we'll see what
yeah,
that does to their,
forward,
run.
yeah,
Yeah, going forward. If that hurts them, in their chase for the conference, the regular season crown, and then the tournament play. If they drop a few, maybe drop down a seed or two, which who knows, that might actually maybe help them out at some point. If they get him back, but
back in the lower seed, and yeah,
yeah,
my favorite, but yeah, just hope that when he does come back, that he's able to give them, what he's given to him all year, because that would be a huge. That's a huge loss, because he does a
hmm
lot for that. Yeah, yeah. Even with the rival, you hate to see anybody who's a college athlete get hurt before they even have a chance to even go pro or coming
hmm
into the part of the season that we're all playing for, which of course is March Madness. So, yeah.
hmm
So, good luck to
yeah,
him. Hope get him well, and hopefully he'll be what he has been all year come time in March. So,
yeah. Let's see what else was of note. Well, yeah, Indiana State uh broke the top 25 for the first time since Larry Bird was playing there, and then uh
dropped every.
inst- instantly lost two games. Uh, Lost at home to Illinois State, and then lost on the road to Southern Illinois. So
That Illinois team they lost to was that Tuesday or Wednesday? Is not even a good team. Like
no,
they have
yeah,
a record. I was like, man,
that's
ugh.
that was not a good loss at all.
Have a short stay in the top 25 for sure.
Yeah, a shame too, because they've been playing just really well. Their only conference loss up until then was Drake, who is now uh, tied at the top of the conference with them. That the Missouri Valley.
Yeah,
Um, not quite the same
no,
as it
no,
was,
but it
back in the
was.
day, but still a tough conference. Um, I guess I'm looking around. I guess that's pretty much it for college hoops. Let's see. I'm trying to look at see big games coming up this week. Beside, we already mentioned, of course, Alabama's games. Let's see. Do we have a top 25? That's what I'm looking for here. Come on now. All right, here we go. Let's see. Yeah, what's going on big this week? Oh, let's see again. Number 10, Iowa State and Houston playing a big game to Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, UConn and Creighton will battle on
And that's a
Tuesday as
team.
well.
Talking about Iowa
Mhm.
State, that's a team that's quietly. I mean, they're sitting at number 10, and I don't think anybody's talked about Iowa State all year.
Mm.
But yeah, they are sitting high in the.
And that
You
that's
know,
one
you
of
know,
those programs. They just always seem to be there in March. Might have
they're,
a couple
they're
dips here and there, but
yeah. I mean, they're pretty. I mean, for a team that doesn't get a lot of hype and praise, I mean, overall, they're a very consistent program. I mean, but I
hmm
mean, they're sitting there 20-5 on the season, 9-3, and probably arguably probably the best conference in college basketball.
hmm
Um, you know, winning is a fourth straight, but yeah, winning at Houston always a tough
hmm
thing. But Houston looking for the revenge. They lost to them earlier in the season, but man, that's a very underrated team there that doesn't get a lot of national love. But man, I was looking, I was like, man, they're 10. Honestly, I didn't realize that they were number 10 in
hmm
the country just because they don't get a lot of hype. But the Big 12 conference is stacked and only going to get better. I mean, they're going to lose
Yeah,
Texas,
add them there.
OU, but I mean, that's not really the power of the conference, I'd say. They've
No,
been, I
yeah.
mean, they're all right, but I mean, they're not losing it. Not losing a lot of basketball wise, and then bringing in Arizona,
hmm
Arizona State, Utah. I mean, that's a conference.
Yeah, that is no joke. And you mentioned it's tough. Houston, they got that game Monday night, and then Saturday they're turning around. They have to go to Baylor. So
Ooh, yeah,
yeah, it's tough sledding right there for the Cougars.
yes.
But yeah, we're getting down to last few weeks before we hit conference tournament season,
Mhm.
and then of course the big one. NBA wise, staying in basketball, of course it's All Star Weekend. They're playing on glowing courts. It's actually pretty cool. But you did you get a chance to watch any of the All Star Weekend festivities?
I didn't watch it last night. I watched it this morning, just
hmm
because I wanted to watch it, but early enough where I wasn't interested in really without looking at my phone or anything, because of course everybody's gonna give up everything. So,
hmm
but yeah, I mean, it was okay. I don't know, you know, weird. We're to a point where the 3-point competition is more entertaining than the dunk contest, but that's kind of where
Yeah.
we're at right.
hmm
I thought as far as the dunk contest, I thought Mac McClung's dunks were cool. The rest of the fields was trash.
Yeah.
You know, they brought in. I mean, I guess shout out to Jalen Brown for actually being an All Star that once was part of the dunk contest. It doesn't happen very
hmm
much anymore. But I mean, his dunks were. They kind of hyped him up a little more than what maybe they. I don't know. I guess McClung's dunk over Shaq. I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, you got to look. I mean, he's only 6'3", and he, he cleared Shaq. I mean, that was pretty cool. But I don't know. It's just No, just the same stuff. I mean, everybody just jumps over somebody nowadays. It's not
Yeah.
terrible. I mean,
Yeah. It's not. It's almost like they've lost that innovation that the old guys used to have, and um,
yeah, I don't, I don't know. The 3-point. I thought that was it's always entertaining. Even the Steph versus you know, her name right now. That was pretty cool. But the rookie, I thought the Friday night game that was pretty. I enjoyed the little tournament
yeah.
there.
hmm
Jalen's team not maybe not the most talented team as far as the names, but they did. they handle business. But
Yeah.
uh, I mean, it's been all right. Not- mm,
Yeah, it's. I was mentioning somebody yesterday, the other day. I don't know if it's All Star games are just not as good, not as fun as they used to be, or if it's just something that I enjoyed more as a kid because it was all the best players in one place, and as an adult, it's just like, whatever. Like I know, like kind of the mask is off, where you're kind of like, yeah, it's just an exhibition. It's just whatever.
yeah, I think that's what it. I think that's kind of what it is.
Mhm,
Yeah, we just, as a kid, you're, oh my God, so cool, all these guys,
mhm.
Now it's just like, as an adult, maybe we'd have felt the same way back then too.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
kind
yeah, exactly. Maybe we'd have been like,
of,
whatever, who
we
cares?
had that nostalgia, oh, it's so cool. Well, maybe was it as cool as we remember? Who knows? When you
Yeah.
go back, it's like we watching something. You watched a movie as a kid and it was the best thing. You rewatching like, oh, this wasn't
Hmm.
nearly what I remember. But, I don't know. I will
Yeah.
say though, it gets all the people to complain about the dunk contest. So it's like, oh, it was so much better. Like, but y'all gonna be like 30, 40 years to find where it was so much better. You talking about
Hmm.
Mike, Dominique. I'm like, man, that was so long ago now. Like, I mean, we
I mean,
just
yeah,
need to.
because really, even when we were in college, it wasn't that big. I mean, Vince Carter was, I think, the year before we got to college with his, big one. So it's kind of been that way for a while now. Stars kind of opting out of it. And
Right.
I don't know if you need to, if that's what makes it exciting again, is if you somehow convince like the big names to come back into it, or if it's just something that's gone by the
And I don't.
wayside.
And also, I mean, is that even your best dunkers though? I mean, those your
Yeah,
stars, your best.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, who? I mean, I mean, you look at. I mean, do you want? I mean, you look at your stars. I mean, do you want a dunk contest with Luca? I mean, do you want one with Joker? Like, I don't. you
No,
know?
no, yeah. Yeah, you want those. There is something to be said for that guy that's the 12th, 11th, 12th man on the bench, but who's out there trying to make a name for himself. And so he's just thinking up crazy dunks to do. Of course, they actually have to think of the crazy dunks instead of just jumping over Shaq, uh,
Yeah. I
which
mean,
is
it was cool.
impressive. Yeah, but
It was cool, but I mean, everybody had somebody they dunked over.
yeah.
They all did a dunk and just a little different, but
Yeah.
wasn't worse, but it's just kind of gotten stale, I guess. And I don't know how you fix it at this point. And I'm not necessarily thinking it's stars that fix it. I think it's just innovation of the dunks, or you just have, or you just open it up. You get, you see these YouTube, folks just dunking. Whether it
Mhm.
be the G League, whether it be, I don't know, you just open it up to people, and I think that's maybe where the innovation comes from. But I mean, I don't know if they're not NBA would ever go that route or not. I mean, other than like the G League, because I mean, you look at Mac McClung's 2 years in a row, and that man has yet to be really a part of the NBA.
Yeah, yeah. um, but yeah, so it goes. Uh, Elsewhere in the world of sports, it's just now post Super Bowl, so it's that type of year, that time of year. It's pretty much, uh, regular season stretch run in college basketball. Kind of the latter, middle, early, late part of the NBA season. We're just kind of spring training's kicking off. College baseball and softball season are starting.
Yeah.
Just kind of waiting for the playoffs to start in NBA opening day in baseball, and then draft time, and you know, and March Madness. So
Coming into a
just
great part of the sports year. We just got out of a awesome one. The
hmm
and the college football and the playoff and then the NFL playoffs and the
hmm
Super Bowl and everything with that. We're kind of in that wait mode now.
Hmm.
But hey, man, this is the time. If I mean, I know college basketball has kind of lost its luster, but if there's a time to watch, the stretch run in college play is
Hmm.
fantastic football, and just the atmospheres, the just I, there's a certain I don't know. I think college basketball has a certain passion that kind of gets overlooked a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
there seems to be something there that really picks up. This time of the year, February, you're deep in conference play right before March Madness, and
Hmm.
I I enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. But unless you got anything elsewhere in the world of sports, I think that's probably it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot. I guess yeah, but that's pretty much it.
Well, all right then. So what's been done up real good for you then?
I'm being 40 and still surviving. You know, and you hit that point, you think, man, 40 is gonna be so old, and then you're like, man, yeah, I don't know, just another day. But yeah, just I guess really just gives you the reality, man. You just gotta enjoy stuff, cause man, when you're 20, you think, man, this is gonna be forever till I'm 40, and now you're 40, and you're like, wow,
Hmm.
time
Like,
just
wait,
goes
what
so
happened?
fast. Yeah, exactly. So just get that perspective. You just gotta sit back, enjoy stuff. Take more trips. Be around the folks that you like. Enjoy being around and just enjoy stuff because time goes fast. But how
Hmm.
about you?
Yeah, well said. Like I said, we went down New Orleans for Mardi Gras. We're in the crew of Red Beans. We march on Lundi Gras. It's actually the Monday, the day before. So that's always done up real good. Always fun to get down there. It was a little hectic this week. The wife actually worked out in Las Vegas for some Super Bowl events, so she flew
Oh,
in Sunday and all that. It was a mess. We didn't even stay at our friend's place that we're originally going to stay because he's in a part of
uh-huh.
town that's just all surrounded by parades, so it's impossible to get to. So
Yeah.
we made a deal with each other that we would actually plan it out much better next year. um, yeah, maybe look at saving up some hotel points or something like that, and
Right.
actually
But
spending a few
that's
days down there. Yeah.
right. But that's a trick though with Mardi Gras, just because just because it's not consistent. Every year is way different.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Super early, and then the other years, mid, you're much closer to March and stuff, and
Hmm.
you're,
Yeah, it was very early this year. Next year, it's going to be March 4th is Mardi
yeah,
Gras Day. So, and I know next year, I'm already
man,
feeling it for my service industry brethren, because the Super Bowl is also in New Orleans next year, right smack
wow,
dab in the middle of carnival season. So, I'm already feeling
wow.
for y'all. I know it's going to be a hectic couple of months there.
A
Um,
lot of money to be made though. Wow.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're not going to be hurting for hours. That's for sure. But yeah, and it was fun. Brought little Mercer man his first Mardi Gras. He
Oh.
he slept a lot of it. Like, we had a little wagon for him pulling along. It's a walking parade, and he was just out enjoying it. But yeah, that's something as he gets older he'll enjoy more with all the
Yeah,
costumes and bands and stuff. Yeah,
yeah, it's an experience. Yeah, you
yeah,
guys, listen. If you guys have never been to Mardi Gras, you got to at least get there once because it's something you'll never experience anywhere else.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And this is also a PSA. I'll say this on behalf of my wife, because she a couple angry rants about people trying to schedule meetings with her and stuff on Mardi Gras Day and Lundi Gras Day before. If you do business with someone in New Orleans, in Mobile, to a second, but I'm speaking on behalf of New Orleans people. Do not try to schedule calls or send them emails or do any kind of stuff on the Monday, the Tuesday, and then let's say the Wednesday, Ash Wednesday too. It's not. I know from the outside sometimes it seems like, oh, it's just an excuse to party, and it's a great big party. It is, but no, it means something down there. It's part of the culture. So don't.
Yeah.
They're not going to answer you. They're going to get mad that you even asked. Uh,
Give them
give them
a
a break.
Thursday.
Yeah, come back that
Thursday.
Thursday. Hmm.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Come to that.
there are a lot of offices down there that just take the week off. They're just like, all right,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
we're closed for the week. Yeah.
I mean, that
Um,
makes the most sense. Let the folks
mhm.
enjoy it. 'Cause, I
Yeah.
mean, I would say that from that Friday before to the Thursday, like you shouldn't expect folks down there shouldn't expect anything other than
Mm-mm.
them not having like let them live.
No, 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 I mean, I'd even extend that honestly to that Thursday. Thursday's got a couple big parades
Yeah.
down New Orleans
So,
specifically, like muses and stuff. But
right.
yeah, just giving that break. It's not, elsewhere. And before I knew, it's not just getting drunk on Fat Tuesday at some bar that's selling hurricanes or some crap. It's more than that. So
It's a whole event. Yeah.
yeah, again, a friendly
Well,
PSA. If you do business with someone in New Orleans, don't expect them to work and don't ask them to on anywhere near Mardi Gras.
yeah.
It's a holy day.
Exactly.
But that'll do it for us this week, folks. Thanks for listening. Thank you for. We're glad you come back after the week off.
Yeah.
We'll try to keep it interesting here as we hit this kind of slower part of the sports calendar. I think I'm gonna think of some weird ideas. I think maybe some proposals, and I'll bring in Greg here and see what he thinks on the fly. We'll surprise him. Maybe just stuff like expansions or weird rule changes. Something like that. I'll think of some fun ideas. We'll do something while this slow part's up. But as always, like I said, thank you for listening. Do check out all of the other great podcasts in the Alabama Take family of podcasts. Make sure you subscribe and rate us. Tell your friends, tell your rich friends. Check out the alabamatake.com for the occasional writings and stuff. And you can find all the podcasts there as well. Check out T Public, of course. Get yourself some Alabama Take and Taking on Sports merch. And as always, keep it done up real good yourselves out there. Greg, take it easy, buddy.
You too, buddy.